Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm back in the building for another one of these reactions. Back up in here, man. This is just the Just Facts podcast. If this is your first time here, go ahead and check out all of the content I got previously. And if you like it, hey, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment. Make a suggestion. I might read it. I might not. I don't know. But we're just gonna be taking a look at a video from the YouTube channel The Stop. Usually The Stop does a lot of like Joe Budden commentaries on episodes of the podcast, and different narratives that are being put together on that podcast. But today I'm going to be looking at a video that he put together that was different. It's about Desus and Mero. It says Mero exposes Desus and says he's fake. Shocking accusation! Exclamation point. Let's get it going. Before I even start the video, my soul cries every time I see these two cats, whether it be Mero or Desus, and they're like doing something else and they're not like together. I really rocked with their campaign. And it really sucks that they are not, them as a duo and a collective being the Bodega Boys are not together anymore. Like, it really sucks. It really hurts. They were really like an oddball pairing in the I guess the podcast verse, if you will, the podcast arena full of hip hop media. They were really the oddballs because they were like hella funny, like, and they mixed it up with like talking about hip hop media and like just media in general. But let's get this going.
Mero goes off on Desus and exposes him for creating a fake persona in order to create a character for the Bodega Boys podcast. That's right, y'all. We here at The Stop have been noticing a serious escalation into the breakup between Desus and Mero. A lot of people remember that they broke up under weird terms, but these two are currently engaged in a back and forth. The type of back and forth that makes the Rory and Mal breakup with Joe Budden look like child's play. Recently, Mero launched his new podcast, Victory Light, which I thought was pretty cool and did give me some Bodega Boys vibes. However, somebody took to Reddit and decided to trash the podcast, basically saying it was garbage, and the kid Mero,
not gonna make everybody happy,
decided to defend himself and said, I could have easily found another Desus type and ran back the same formula, but it would be corny and stifling. I want to grow, not just the Victory Light pod, but Victory Light as a production house where you can come do your thing and not get notes from Yakubian CEOs that fail up. I wanted a woman's voice and another Bronx guy that wasn't just a guy pretending to have gone through all the same things that I did. Now, this is a big comment.
So he's basically saying that Desus was faking it the whole entire time that they were doing their whole entire content together. That sucks. That's trash, bro. Like, they really brought something original. Whenever I would watch, not even watch, but like listen to the Bodega Boys podcast, bro, there's something creative about hearing like a skit before hearing like a whole podcast, bro. They like mastered that. I don't hear any podcast do skits like that. Every single time I would listen to the Bodega Boys, they had a skit ready, and then they had like the little soundboard just to make it even more realistic, bro. I really miss that they are not together anymore. But I mean, things that are in the dark come to the light, so it was gonna be exposed at some point. So I mean, and then now for it to be that Mero says that Desus was faking it, and then still there's still the narrative of the manager being the reason why they broke up, which the manager hasn't really spoke up or said anything about it, but there's still that narrative.
As this gets at the idea that Desus was pretending to be something he wasn't for the sake of the podcast. If you don't remember, For me, listening to Desus and Mero, it felt like the commercialization of the New York persona. Yankee hats, bodegas, something about it didn't feel authentic when I listened to it.
That's true.
And that something was Desus. I'm not taking sides here, but I remember many years ago
It sounds like you
wondering
are,
if
Danny.
Desus was who he said he was. Oftentimes, he would talk about
He
being
said,
an
"I'm not
OG
taking sides,"
and
but you
being on
are.
the block. He specifically said this during the interview with Taxstone, and I was like, is this guy really like that? And I said that because I'm not really like that, and I can tell when somebody's putting on a front. I'm not picking sides here. It's just what I saw. But this isn't the only thing that Mero said on his Reddit account. So here's what he said in another comment. The only difference between Rainey and Desus is that Rainey is who he says he is. A dude from the trenches in the BX who don't gotta craft the persona to hide the fact that he be watching anime and doing nerdy stuff.
Okay, that's
Listening to
really
all
who he
ish
is. Okay.
And just generally not being a stereotype. Which is funny because old boy used to visibly bristle when people would professionally try to set us up. Like, let's play that you're from the Bronx. Tim's, chopped cheese, etc., etc.
Oh, he didn't really like
to break
it.
free and sing Olivia Rodrigo at the top of his lungs.
Wow.
Because dudes just can't be themselves. Oh my God, it's getting
Dang.
crazy. And Mero is calling Desus old boy.
For
Everybody
sure
knows
he
old boy
is.
means he's
Dang,
gonna rock
man.
with somebody. This thing is getting really ugly.
Nah,
and
it's
the Bodega Boys
crazy.
podcast is looking like some behind the music type tragedy.
Nah, facts.
But there's even more underlying stuff behind
There's
all of
more?
this. As if you remember, Desus and Mero ended under weird terms with Showtime.
Yeah,
And it
because of the
appears
manager.
like
Yeah, because of the
during that whole
manager
back and forth,
and a whole
Desus
bunch
sided
of
with
stuff.
Viacom, Showtime, whatever that company is, and Mero wanted to go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, the two find themselves at odds. So here's apparently what might be coming. My source told me that there's some type of dust up, some type of racial discrimination thing that might have been going on dating back to the days of the production of the Desus and Mero Showtime show. So could it be that Desus and Mero are engaged in a legal battle or will be engaging in a legal battle soon? Will it be over the fight of the Bodega Boys brand, or is it because of whatever happened at Showtime? Let me know what you think in the comment. Also, if you look at this comment that Mero made on Reddit a little bit ago, you can kind of read the tea leaves. Dudes was all on my body like, where's the art? For months, and the type of dude I am would never just tell y'all, get it when you get it. With the podcast, bro, aka Desus, just stopped, period. Wouldn't respond to calls, texts, or emails, and never responded to anything in the general chat with the whole podcast team, which is just for us. Just to be clear, bro quit the podcast, okay? Like no call, no show type stuff.
Okay.
With the show, ratings were soft.
He was done.
And the Hapless execs kept pushing horrible notes on dudes while making us work with a production company who
Golly, bro, he is getting dragged.
And they pay themselves 7 figures before they figure out how to sink the rest of the budget. I think
Nah,
all the
Mero
time,
is
the show
dragging the hell out of
work with
Desus.
for or another company. And then Mero even shed light on why Victor was cast as some type of crazy.
And then, you know, the funniest part about all this is that Miro's gonna say all this, and then Desus ain't gonna say nothing. Ain't gonna, like, you know what I'm saying, respond or like speak up for himself. You know, about what's being said about him. That's crazy, bro. And then, oh yeah, he said something about the manager. Let's see what he said.
Man, here's what he said. Victor lived in his office crunching numbers. He yelled once because the morning he discovered his sister had a medical issue that made her severely immunocompromised, he observed the interim director inviting randoms to the set. Bro yelled, "This is BS. Why do we have COVID protocols if dudes are going to ignore them?" And boom, he gets labeled the angry guy they need to scapegoat. He says a lot of other stuff, but then he wraps up by saying, let me wrap it up here. And I'll say this, 1 or 2 of y'all here on this sub have texts and emails and know exactly what the deal is. That's why they're so convinced. But again, I'm not about to start posting screenshots to win some imaginary argument. I know exactly what the dude did to derail the whole thing. And I'm still playing it close to the vest. Cause I'll square up and knock this dude's head off his body before I get on some posting combos.
Wow,
BS.
you really ready
So
to throw hands with
Desus?
Desus?
Sabotaged the Bodega Boys because he might have been unhappy with whatever the situation was. And is it possible that a lawsuit is coming? This is all ending pretty embarrassing.
Maybe Desus was just annoyed by
nobody could have imagined
Mero.
that whole Mero and Desus thing was
crazy.
the side of fitted caps and chopped cheeses. These guys weren't really friends, and they were put together like a boy band in the 90s. It's sad and represents the truth about podcasting. Oftentimes we listen to podcasts and we think that the people hosting the show are friends. But next time you listen to your favorite podcast, think about this. Are the co-hosts really friends or just pretending to be cool?
Just a business for most podcasts that I listen to.
Obviously one-sided, as Desus has remained quiet.
Exactly. He ain't gonna say nothing.
With Mero being the most vocal. But I do think Mero is telling the truth about Desus creating this tough guy OG persona in order to sell and market the Bodega Boys. But let me know what you think in the comments. What happens next for Desus and Mero? It's clear that everything is falling into place for both
Yeah, I
sides.
ain't gonna lie. It
As
don't look
Mero
like
has Victory
they
Light,
ever
he
coming
also
back
has
together.
that podcast he's gonna do with Mello, and Desus is doing more
The Daily
TV
Show
stuff. I think he
and
has a TV
stuff.
show coming. I gotta tell you, I
It's
enjoy Mero's
weird.
content more.
Bro,
I know a lot
it's
of you in the
weird.
comments are like, Danny, you're so biased. You just pro Mero. I just like Mero. I feel like he's more authentic to me.
Yeah,
than
I
how
feel like
Desus
I
come
feel
off
like
on
you
the
really
Desus
on
Mero
his
run.
you know what I'm
That's just
saying?
what I gotta say. I know Mero ain't
On his
perfect. He
side,
probably
but
doing
it's
some stuff
fine.
I'm not aware of. So if you got the tea, drop it in the comments. So that way
I like Mero too. He's funny. I mean, he can be over. He can be overly. He'd be overly overdoing it, but it's not bad. Sucks that Desus and Mero ain't never coming back together. I don't know. I don't even know that you can like replicate what they did between having the Bodega Boys podcast, being on Vice, and also being on Showtime, and then also doing online other things outside of all of that stuff that they did. I mean, I don't know that that can be replicated. But hey, man, what do you think? Put it down in the comment section. Are you a Bodega Boys fan, or are you glad to see them not together anymore? Please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe, and I'm gone. God bless you.